Yes, our panel discussion is going to be about industry prospects for cooperation with academia in the MENA region. Some programs and initiatives are already there. So, moderates this panel discussion, Engineer Mohamed Salama. You can join the stage, please. Our panelists, Dr. Bushra al Balooshi, Research and Innovation Head at Dubai Electronics Security Center, Smart Dubai, UAE. Dr. Bushra. Welcome, Dr. Bushra. Engineer Taha Khalifa, Intel CCG Sales Director, EMEA Territory and GCC Country Manager. Welcome. Engineer Ali Cheema Erickson, Head of Government and Industry Relations, Middle East and Africa. Dr. Omar Alfandi, Associate Dean and Professor at the College of Technological Innovation, Zayed University, UAE. Welcome. Engineer Afzal Shabaz, Vice President of IoT and Technology and Innovation at Siemens Industrial. And Mr. Ghanem Al-Falasi, Senior Vice President of Technology and Entrepreneurship at Dubai Silicon Oasis. Welcome you all.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and thank you for having us today. So, yes, we have a lot of mics. We can always share. So, thank you for being with us. Yes. So, we'll have another one for you. So, let me very quickly introduce myself. So, my name is Mohamed Salama. I'm part of the Unity team, Unity Technologies. And since we have the esteemed guest there, so we'll have a quick introduction. So you start to understand who's coming from the government perspective, who's coming from the industry perspective, and also the academia. So let me start with Ghanem.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm coming from Dubai Silicon Oasis. If you're familiar with the city, it's a sub-city in Dubai. So we have everything included as an integrated community. So we have from nursery to university, we have 90,000 people inhabiting 7 square kilometer. So the whole thing that we are trying to do there is to reflect the quadruple helix concept of engaging the technology provider, the government, and the academia and the community all in one. So I think this is our subject today. And my role as an system provider, I consider myself just like the Silicon Valley, where we follow the rainforest strategy. We really pave the road or make the soil for any seed of technology to grow in the city. And we enable them by furnishing the environment for them to create and test post-lab testing for their benefit, and also help them regulate what they require. We are the municipal of the city, so we can have the access and the control what to fly and ride over that city. So what we are having a very clear roadmap, the ambitions that we have to create the first autonomous city. So our focus as a Silicon Oasis is purely technology. So all the companies, 80% of the companies there are technology companies. So our partner here will help us for sure achieve our goal to be the first autonomous city. Thank you.
Thank you. And autonomous is not about the car, but also the autonomy of the process and the autonomy of the whole city as a smart city. And having said that, let me introduce Afzal.
Hi, thank you, Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. It's my pleasure to be on this panel. I represent Siemens here, so Siemens Industrial LLC. We focus on technology. We're talking about digitalization, IoT, and different segments. I'm also happy to say that today we are celebrating 175 years of Siemens. So that's a milestone for us, and maybe more to come. Today, what I'm going to talk about is how are we actually collaborating with the government and academia. We have understood this long back, the benefits of collaboration with the government and academia, and this has been there in the region for some time already. Siemens, the way we have set up here in Middle East, we are connecting to roughly 14 countries. We are the headquarter for the Middle East, which also includes Pakistan. Uh, the way we have done this is, we are looking at multiple initiatives. If you look at the initiative, what we have done within the UAE itself, the focus on Emiratization, continuously working with the local, government, which is Ministry of Education, collaborating with more than 10 universities to promote and focus how we bring this. We have a program called, Emirati student program, where we bring the young talent from different universities, groom them on different technologies, which we offer in-house. And not only technology, but if you have an interest in different disciplines within the company, what we cater to, they can learn and benefit from them. It's purely an ability to connect with the talent, groom them, and also make sure that they join a mainstream. It's not about just bringing interns and leaving them, but we also want to make sure that they can have a career plan with Siemens after their the internship. Um, I'm also proud to say that we have recently collaborated with Zayed Higher Organization, where we have to look at how do we collaborate and find solutions for people with different abilities, I would say, and make it inclusive. It's not only for super talented, but also people who have different, I would say, challenges and special abilities. So we are making this program as an inclusive. I'm also proud to say that we already onboarded many students from there. When I talk about a region specifically, I will pick a few points. If you look at Egypt, last summer or this summer, we had already onboarded 34 students as interns. And last summer, it was 150. This program has been there for a few years already. All I want to say is, even the peak of COVID, we were able to onboard the interns and actually groom them online. Similarly, a program in Pakistan where we had onboarded multiple students between 30 to 40, and we are also looking for more technical associates as a long term as we speak. We are collaborating with universities in Qatar and KSA to bring the working students on board and teach them what we can and also benefit from the young talent. In all, to summarize this as an introduction, this program is actually focused on bringing the young talent, introducing the enterprise, bring global to local and back. That's how it is, and connect the enterprise with the universities and with the also, I would say, SMEs when we talk about, because we believe in the open ecosystem. And maybe in my follow-up session, I will touch more on that, on the open ecosystem. But with that, I want to conclude.
Yeah, which is also supporting the government mandates. So this is the engagement that we have. And having said that, so MindSphere or Siemens was powering Expo 2020. If we have a chance to look around that city, and this is part of the Smart Dubai, a complete model of a smart city on the area of the Expo. And having the Smart Dubai in representation. So Dr. Bushra, can you please introduction?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Bushra al Balooshi. I'm the head of research and innovation in Dubai Electronic Security Center. So last year, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, just to set the scene, where is Smart Dubai, where is Dubai Electronic Security Center, how all of that ecosystem is merged. So last year, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Rashid announced the establishment of Dubai Digital Authority with a merge of 4 main entities: Dubai Electronic Security Center, which is the entity I'm coming from, Smart Dubai, Dubai Data Establishment, and Dubai Statistics. So those 4 entities now, they are working under one umbrella called Dubai Digital Authority. I'm handling 2 main roles. The first role is the head of research and innovation within Dubai Electronic Security Center. I'm also the chairwoman of Digital Skills Committee that was established once the authority was established. So what we did in the past, working with academia and empowering R&D ecosystem in the city or in the country, actually we were the first government entity to issue a research grant, proper research grants to universities in cybersecurity. And with that, we were able to open lots of labs and research activities across different domains and different areas. So we were able to open an IoT security lab within Sharjah University. We were able also to open another lab for true random number generation, and we registered the patent on that. We were able also to open 2 labs in University of Dubai, one for wireless security, where we also got a patent for that. And all of the outputs from those research activities are actually being well received in the organization, and we are implementing them in different critical national infrastructure in the city. We also have another lab in University of Dubai for OT security. As I said, out of those research activities, we were able to publish lots of papers and register multiple patents in the US Patent Office, and we are now working towards using those output of the research and some of the critical national infrastructure that we have in the city. This is one element when it comes to R&D and how we started from bottom up, working with universities, making sure that we are taking it in the right path rather than reinventing the wheel or creating our own research ecosystem. The other pillar, which is the digital skills. So we published yesterday, or we launched the digital skills demand and gap survey. It's the first survey that was done across private sector in order to determine what are the future demand of digital skills that we have in the city. We have a booth in Sheikh Saeed Hall. If you are interested to know more, we are announcing the results of that. So it shows you where are the demand, what are the gaps, and how we should improve when it comes to talent. The second part is the competency framework. So it's a complete framework that describes what are the skills that anyone working in ICT needs in order to upskill his level and in order to go into the right path. So we will know then if you will start as a programmer after 5 years, where you should be, what are the skills that you need, technical skills and soft skills, what are the trainings that you need to take, what are the certifications you need. So it's a complete skills framework that identified about 159 work roles within ICT in the 3 main domains: data and AI, cybersecurity plus ICT. This is in a nutshell what we are doing in Dubai Digital Authority in order to empower skills and in order to empower or in order to work collaboratively with research institutes and academia to make sure that the triple helix is well implemented in the city.
Including as well the industry, yeah, and the vendor and technology.
Yes, we cannot ignore that part for sure. So for example, the research activities we have in universities was also done in collaborative with the private sector. The framework we released was done in collaboration with the private sector. Even the survey that we did, it was done in the private sector first.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. So the whole private partnership is there, even supported with the community, not beyond the triple helix, but also the quadruple helix with the community support.
Mohamed, if you allow me, it's also worth saying that we launched Dubai Cyber Innovation Park. It's the first hub for research, innovation, and upskilling. And over there, we are really implementing a triple helix. We launched a CISO program in collaboration with the Florence University and in collaboration with the private sector. It's a pure joint venture between us and the private sector. And we changed the mind of the private sector because we got used to sign contracts with the private sector to pay us. But in that one specifically, it's a joint venture. So we are bringing something in the table and the private sector is bringing something in the table in order to upskill the level of cybersecurity professionals that we have in the city. It was recognized by the World Economic Forum also as one of the best practices globally, how we are tackling the shortage of cybersecurity skills in the city by having that triple helix working between academia.
Awesome. Thank you. And having the whole technology inside, yeah. So the whole technology inside, usually I need to introduce Taha.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Taha Khalifa, and I'm the general manager for Intel in the Middle East. I think I have a few minutes to describe what Intel is doing, how we're collaborating with the government and the academia, and what programs are we doing in order to address some of the issues and the challenges as we see the changes in technology. So number one, just wanted to tell you what is our strategy. So our strategy is to create world-changing technology that improves the lives of everyone on Earth. So to achieve this strategy, we cannot do it alone. We have to work with our partners. We have to work with the ecosystem, and we have to work with the government and academia in order to make this reality. Intel, during the COVID days, we've seen how the importance of technology has evolved to become an important and critical part of our lives. In fact, this year, for the first time in history, the digital economy is going to surpass the other sides of the economy. So it's going to be more than 50% of the worldwide economy. And that's the importance of the digital economy. That's the importance of the technology that we see. And since we enable and build and provide the building blocks for everything in the technology from the edge to the cloud, we see our role in providing and enabling these world-changing technologies. We see that there are 5 superpowers that are more or less creating this virtual cycle of innovation and of change. And these are computing. We see computing has become part of our lives. We can see everyone here has access to a lot of computing resources, whether it's in your hand, in the smartphone, or through a PC. Our vision is by end of 2030, every person will have access to 1 petaflop of computing, 1 petabyte of storage, and within 1 millisecond of access. That shows how computing is going to be pervasive over the decade. If we pass computing connectivity, we see 5G, which is expected to cover half of the world just by the end of 2025. The edge and the smart edge, we call it intelligent edge, is also building this vision of edge to the cloud infrastructure, providing scale and reach. The other pillar is AI, artificial intelligence, which is enabling us to convert all of the data, all of the information that we collect into insights that we can use and enabling new usage models that are changing everything that we do. The last one is called sensing, which is basically the ability of smart devices to sense the environment and to be able to provide information on that. All of these superpowers are enabling us to move to the next level of technology with a digital first economy, digital first technology. And we see that in the semiconductor business, which is expected to double by the end of 2030. By the end of 2030, the global semiconductor business is expected to hit $1 trillion. So all of these changes are making us very excited about the future of technology and the impact that we are able to do to the economy and to everyone on earth as we put on our strategy. So what do we see as a key challenge? And this aligns very well with the all of the research that has been done regarding the digital literacy. We see a big gap worldwide in the digital literacy. In fact, the World Economic Forum predicts that by the end of the decade, the impact of this digital literacy gap on the world economy combined is going to be more than $11 trillion. So you can keep that in mind, $11 trillion of loss to the global world economy because of the digital literacy. That's why we built programs to enable us to work closely with the governments and the academia and also our partners in order to address some of those. We created a program called Skill for Innovation in order to provide the students with the skills that they need for the jobs of the future. And these skills are both technical and soft skills. Technicals including programming, maths, etc. And the soft skills including analysis, critical analysis, the ability to do computing thinking, program analysis. So more of the softer skills that are not part of the computational analysis. So skills for innovation. The other 2 programs that we've done, one focused on artificial intelligence. And this is basically providing the tools and the skills as building blocks, whether for the students through our AI for Youth program, or whether through post-college, which is AI for citizens. And it provides, again, a couple of 2 tracks, giving ideas about data science and programs and curriculum on data science, on programming, machine learning, computer vision. All of these artificial intelligence tools and knowledge that are needed for the jobs of the future. Last but not least, we're also looking and investigating also the opportunity of providing programs for semiconductor design, as we see this as a critical skill that is needed as the needs for chips and for semiconductor increase worldwide. We've seen the impact of the chip shortage that I think did not only impact computers, but impacted every aspect of our lives, including cars. The auto industry has been significantly impacted by the chip shortage that we've seen. As such, we see this also as a critical skill that we want to embark on seeing how we can provide those. So all of these are examples of the programs that we have worldwide and here in the UAE in collaboration with the government and the academia. The collaboration that we have with Silicon Oasis is a clear example of how we collaborate with both the industry, the government, and the academia to build our Intel Innovation Lab, which enable us to bring solutions and innovations that is coming locally and showcase that to our customers and to our partners worldwide and enable the reach of our local customers globally. So this is another example of the collaboration that we do. There are much more examples that we can share, but I'm conscious of time and I'll pass it over to my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with the digital skill set, there is always need for connectivity. There is always need for internet. Everyone has his own phone, but you don't know what's happening on the whole telecom industry or the ICT industry. So let me introduce Ali.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and it's a privilege to share the stage with such learned colleagues. So thank you, GIA, for the opportunity. My name is Ali Cheema, and I head government and industry relations for Ericsson across Middle East and Africa. And what that does is that gives me the opportunity to, or rather the privilege to actually speak to government stakeholders across a very vast variety of positions in temporal digital time frame that we see of different countries. I mean, sitting here, digitalization does not seem like something we need to think about. Look around you, digital is happening now. It has happened a few days ago, in fact. But what's interesting is this is not the standard that happens everywhere. Inclusivity is common. The moment you step away from Dubai, things are different. The moment you step away from UAE, you then start to see things even more stark contrast. And if you go deeper into sub-Saharan Africa, the challenges become, the challenges of the digital divide start to come in. So from my perspective, and from the Ericsson perspective, we believe in inclusive approach of digitalization, because the value of digitalization is not just bringing to the few, but this is the mode of operation that will take us to the next phase of humanity, essentially. And we cannot leave people behind. With that in mind, we are, of course, we are conscious of the engagement that needs to happen. There has to be very clear long-term view, but we have to do milestones in the middle as well. So, and some of these are absolutely self-servient. I mean, when we engage with academia, I'll be very frank, we cannot help but engage with academia because that's where all the smart ideas really come from. A student of today with a smart, interesting, unique idea is actually the tomorrow's CEO for Ericsson, and that's very conscious for us. So we have been engaging with academia, with stakeholders which are able to bring students to allow them to be integrated into not only to Ericsson workforce, but also to bring towards the leadership of Ericsson within Middle East and the bigger region, as well as other parts of the world. Let me do a bit of a plug in here. So we have a seminar which we are planning. So we have a Build Your Career seminar or Design Your Career seminar that we are going to have 2 sessions of. So if you are interested, do drop by the Ericsson booth in Hall 2. We'll have a session today at 4 p.m. and then another one on Friday at 11 a.m. Sorry. The idea in this case is that this is just the first stage. This is your first stage. So we need to engage with these key stakeholders because we need them to be part of Ericsson, because quite frankly, I mean, I think of myself as a smart, maybe somewhat intelligent person, but I have no idea how all these innovative people come up with such creative ideas, and we need the youth to be involved to be able to do so. That's the first step. The next step for us is actually seeing where do we go from here. And that is far more a mandate of the GCC and the Gulf and the UAE, particularly because these countries over the last 5 years have shown that they are moving at a pace far ahead of what expected to be a typical country's pace. We have seen, I mean, of course, it was the unfortunate last few years when we had the pandemic, but we all were impacted. But the countries which were able to very quickly maneuver and place themselves were the ones who were first into digitalization age. And I'm very happy to be based out of UAE and saw that my kids were doing their studies, yes, digitally, but in a matter of a month rather than waiting a few weeks and months and not having connectivity. All of that so organically happened because there were people like Bushra, like the government stakeholders over here, that they were able to make those decisions ahead of time. So keeping that in mind, we have had very, very productive engagements. For example, we work very closely. We signed an MOU last GITEX with the UAE University to work towards autonomous driving. And we're still working with them to see how we can work and evolve that further. We signed an R&D engagement with the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi. And the idea is very clear. We don't want to just talk about tomorrow, what we can do. That's the long-term view. We are actually working with them to understand what 6G standards would look like. We're developing physical standards with them so that we can evolve them further. This is, again, this is not just us being philanthropic. This is what we need to do. Because if we're not doing this, then we are missing a significant part of this discussion. And then on the inclusive part, there is a big element of this, which has to be with collaboration and learning and building the momentum altogether. So for that perspective, we recently signed an agreement with the Smart Africa Digital Academy, whereby we are providing them interface to Ericsson's education. We have a platform called Ericsson Educate, which has all the leading technology available to them. So we have made available to them that platform. And with them, we will be conducting training for regulatory stakeholders, for government stakeholders, for policymakers, so that they could pave the path for policies that could then enable this digitalization. And quite frankly, this is not just a mission for Ericsson. This is a human mission. This is what we have to do if we have to go together and evolve into the next step of humanity. So very excited to be here. And with that, I'll hand it back to you.
Yes,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So the digital talent, as you mentioned, with Ericsson Educate, that's also a private sector trying to tap into the academia. Having said that, let me introduce Dr. Omar.
Thank you. My name is Omar Alfandi. I'm the Associate Dean of one of the college in the Zayed University. Zayed University is a well-known university as a government federal university located in both cities. We have two campuses, one in Dubai and one in Abu Dhabi. So we have about 10,000 students. Most of them are Emirati students. So just like to give you a quick introduction about the university, and in the college we have 22,000 students, and most of them are security. Dr. Bushra is here. So the security is one of the focus in the college. However, talking about computing, which is very interesting things, what our collaboration in industry and government. As a government university, by default, we have access to all government data, to all government relationship, and to the industry. This is maybe the missing part that we need to emphasize more and more in the coming decades. So as a young university compared to European US university, which is sometimes 300 years, we are 20 years old university. So still in the establishment space in terms of building a long-term program. So over a short term, when I came to the university 12 years back, compared to now, I mean, we are moving really fast. As my colleague just said, like the time is not an issue here in this country. So, the initiatives is becoming more and more in terms of involving the industry and government in the university. Let me just give you a quick things about the university, Zayed University. So are we moving our curricula now to problem-based teaching? That's what does mean the student from early stage. They shouldn't like learn only basic science, but only focus on how to solve the problem. By giving them like some kind of interdisciplinary approach. So we moved our program from last year, and then this year we introduced a new programs that it focus on starting from early stage to be associated with industry. How this will be done in the university level. So the problems that the student should think to solve is coming from real life. So what does mean real life? I mean, the industry and government, they are facing a lot of problems. These problems, maybe it needs some students at first stage. You might like think as in the early stage, oh, I can solve it with this way. But to reach the solution, it's not like a consultant. So he will just give an idea and this idea needs to be developed. So this is where our task as a university to develop the skills of the student, he or she can solve in 4 years. So we are building also state-of-the-art labs, and thanks for the initiative that Dr. Bushra is mentioning, like building university labs, and not only just like names, but labs that the student can come practice and do some kind of graduation projects or like, course project. It's really very helpful for the students. I mean, I remember from my study at UAE University back in the 90s. So I still remember that when I went to the lab, it is the only things that the experience I took from the university when I went out. So, the science is because of the computing nowadays and the resources are in the internet. So everyone has an access to for example, to lesson to know what is calculus and so on. However, not everyone has the capability or the possibility to access like a real life, like components, labs, and resources that has sometimes a lot of budget associated with that lab. If you, as a student, have this access during the study at the university, maybe this will bridge the gap when you graduate. So you know exactly where is the direction. I mean, we have some students, they start in third year saying that I want to this direction. I mean, they start like in the third year, and when they get graduated, they get really employed with that employer. Why? Because they know they focus on their graduation on that direction. So we have also some initiative with direction. I mean, they trained our students. Siemens, we are building also a program now with them in line with not internship with 1 year, but apprenticeships like program. It's like similar to the German system where I came from. So it is aligned with while you study, at the same time you are also getting training as well. So Intel, because it's more engineering focused, I think this is something that we investigate. We will just like explore for AI technologies and so on.
Great. So yeah, so there is engagement already up and running. And having said that, if you cross the street, there is the bicycle oasis. Yeah, so it's like if you're graduate just crossing the street to the DSO, it will be great as well to listen from Ghanem. So the program is there, the engagement is there. How we can flourish this type of engagement, how we can build this digital talents and flourish this triple helix, quadruple helix, or the fifth element of being sustainable.
Well, as I mentioned in my talk, that we are selected by the government of Dubai to be the center of knowledge and innovation, being close to all the academia around us there. The Silicon Oasis now focus on the urban strategy for 2040. So coming back, we need to come up with a lot of programs to engage the students with the community around that, which is the quadruple helix concept that we are building. Now, we have embedded inside DSO, we have a Rochester Institute of Technology. This is we are sponsoring them as a university, but that does not limit us from really engaging with other universities. And we are now preparing the roadshow to approach every university neighboring us there or also beyond that, in order to engage them in the program or the ecosystem engagement map that we have, where we have to co-create, co-experiment, really evaluate and regulate also. So there's some ideas that comes from university that is very advanced, that even the regulator is not ready for it. So with the government engagement, we are also creating that rig lab for them in order to test it inside the city and use that one. So myself, I have already engagement with the students who are doing AI and computer vision to analyze a game that I invented, just to give them as a final year project. And they're so excited about this one. And what I need to mention also that based of the encouragement, we are offering free license for startup year 3 and 4 from any university, not just RIT. So we are encouraging entrepreneurship in an early stage, because we don't want them to be first graduate, find a job, then look to be an entrepreneur. We are really pushing them to find that drive inside them while they are in the year 3 and 4. And I just have one comment. Do we need so many security people?
Yes, we need, yeah. For the
No,
digital
no.
era, we need to have the security.
I have a customer or a company that approached us. Okay, we said we graduate 100 cyber security, but one developer. And for him, it's the opposite. He need 100 developer and he hire one security. So I think based on the surveys that we have, we need to acknowledge that what is the pipeline of production that we need to make. Part of what we are doing here is really, we know exactly what is the city or the country or even the neighboring country require from us to produce. And my last wish is really, if I can move all this panel here to Dubai Silicon Oasis and we develop everything there, please.
Sure, man, sure. So again, the forward message looking. So Mindsphere and Siemens managed to build a full autonomy in an expo in a certain way. Do you think that you can extend this programs to other districts and other cities as well?
So actually, it's a very interesting topic. If you look at Expo concluded early this year, there was a task given to Siemens to promote the innovation, connect with the startups. And if you look at majority of the startups, a lot of people who are from the universities. They're still students studying, but they are actually having the entrepreneurial mindset to evolve and develop something. And you'll not believe, when we did this during Expo, in 5 months, we did 7 hackathons. We had 330 innovative ideas, and there were 35 finalists. They all came from different parts of the world, not in UAE, but they came from, we had homegrown local talent, plus we had startups coming from different parts of the world. What we did as Siemens, as an enterprise, we provided them a lab. That means we provided the platform where they can experiment, a sandboxing thing, be it the AI use case or IoT platform or anything with the cybersecurity or mobility and so on and so forth. We not only coach them in that part, but we also help them to co-create, but actually they actually take the solution to the market. It was more about hand-holding them to make sure that they have a complete solution which is working. So when we did a hackathon, it was not slide deck. It was a challenge to develop a product which is working in the cloud. So yes, what we achieved, and I think you were part of that program, it has actually shown us how an open innovation is possible, right? With that said, what Siemens is doing is, as we progress, right from the sensor to the cloud, we have technology to offer. As part of that, we are also, we recently launched a program called Accelerator. Accelerator is a digital platform from Siemens, where it has a marketplace for Siemens and partners alike, where we are actually bringing different solutions for different challenges, what we have, be it for industry, for mobility, for smart infra, and so on and so forth. So platforms like Mindsphere are playing key role in that. So the objective is to make sure that we have an open ecosystem where we can create a value for the customers. And that being said, when the students are coming from universities, they're also learning this, I would say, future tech early enough, like Ghanem has mentioned, not coming out of university and trying to learn something, but learning when they are in the university, getting used to the new tech which is available there, be it AI, be it IoT, be it edge technology, and so on and so forth. So
Awesome.
the expectation out of this program is to make sure that we create an ecosystem which creates a value not only for Siemens, but also as a partner ecosystem.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Dr. Bushra, there is a demand for developers. Some people also, they have a demand for the AI and the semiconductor designer, for example. Can you give us a future look on the survey that we have?
So when Dubai Digital Authority was established, the vision of His Highness was to digitalize the whole life of the people. So the focus of Smart Dubai previously was to digitalize some of the services, manual services, make them online. Now it's beyond that, how we can empower digital economy, how we can tackle digital skills problem, how we can become the first in digital era in the world. So with that being said, and back to the question that Ghanem raised, do we need that much cybersecurity professionals? Do we need that much programmers? Shall we go back to universities and ask them to stop or to quit that cybersecurity program? Actually, we decided to do things bottom up rather than up and down. So we decided to set the base, and that's why we did that survey to understand what is the demand of the market from the digital skills. And interestingly, that the markets are telling us that they need cybersecurity in the upcoming 2 years, and they need data and AI in the upcoming 2 years. As I said, those are the two main, let's say, categories that was highlighted in the survey result, which we launched yesterday. And if anyone is interested to know more about the survey results, it's available in our booth, Dubai Digital Authority booth in Sheikh Saeed Hall. You can go there, you can see the results, but we are going to publish it to all universities. We are going to publish it to the private sector and government entities because it's an important finding that everyone should be aligned with. So if the market is telling me that I need cybersecurity, data, AI, and programming, and I don't need digital marketing, why we are investing in digital marketing? If the market is telling Dubai today that they need more, let's say, network and infrastructure specialists, why we are wasting our time developing talents or graduating talents with the special technology areas like robotics, for example? The market doesn't need that today. So we need to make sure that the supply and the demand is being done based on, let's say, data-driven policies. And that's why the only way that governments can succeed is by having the right data and developing the policies based on those right data. Another thing we did also for universities, because I'm a member in several advisory boards within universities, the challenge we are facing is that universities, they don't know what we want as industry. And in order for them to change their curriculum, to take years and years. So what we did for universities now, we developed a competency framework that identify the right skills that we want as an industry. So it was developed with the industry in collaboration with the private sector, what we want from graduates to have as skills in order to be embedded into our let's say, work roles. Back to Ghanem's question that many cybersecurity students are graduating, but they are not finding the job. Interestingly, the survey we did, that private sector are telling us they are not finding the right skills. Yes, maybe we have graduates, but they are not with the skills that the industry needs at the end of the day. And that gap should be closed in order to match the demand and the supply of this.
So Taha mentioned already bunch of programs. There is a lot of pillars within Intel, leveraging the AI, leveraging the sensing technologies, and also the hardware and semiconductor. How we can look forward to this and engage with the academia, with the direction.
I think it's very clear that the approach that's been done by Dubai is the right and the quantitative way of making sure that we are aligned with the needs of the market. And it's to a large extent aligns very well with the data that we see globally regarding the digital literacy. We focus primarily on AI. Cybersecurity is a very complicated type of a topic to get into. So we saw that AI is probably one of the. Let me start even from high school. We saw a set of skills in terms of analytical thinking, problem solving, all of that are needed and how can we do this at the high school level? So we created the skills for innovation to build the skill set, the mindset to get you to the next level. And then when it came to what are the kind of programs that we can engage with the academia, we developed this AI for Youth program, and the other one, the AI for Citizens. And the whole idea of the two is to be able to deliver the tools and the knowledge that is needed for the jobs that require these AIs, and to give them the skills that are needed in the workforce, not necessarily that is needed by the academia at one point, because that's what the market is looking for. We're building this program here in the UAE with some partners, and also in Saudi, and there are plans also to do it in Egypt. So yes, we are building this within the academia.
It's like a postgraduate program.
No. It's even can be done at the high school level, because you need to start teaching programming at the high school level. And this is what His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, his 1 million programmer approach, is to encourage students from high school to learn to program. And we want this we want programming to be as straightforward as learning a different language in school. So we're developing this at the high school level, and there are some modules also at the college level, and we will be collaborating to bringing this program in the country. Before I leave, we also launched our software research and development center on AI, and for this research center, we need to align with the academia, because we need to build a talent pool for the staff and for the students.
That's based in the UAE.
That is based in the UAE. We just launched it yesterday. So this is going to be also a critical pillar of our strategy in the UAE. And then, of course, the third one is our engagement with Silicon Oasis on our innovation center. And this includes a lot of the areas that we were talking about in terms of regulatory process, startup community, all of that. So these three pillars represent more or less our strategy in the region for this digital literacy.
Right. Thank you very much. So, Ali, how Ericsson can contribute to that? There is tons of innovations, tons of program. How you are thinking on the future about this with Ericsson?
Thank you. First off, very, very interesting discussion, I must say. So before I answer your question, I will absolutely take Anim on his offer to have a further discussion in DSO and see how we can build further to be more tangible one. So that's an action I can take on my own, and we'll continue on that. And not just that, I'll extend the same offer to all the stakeholders here. Now, in terms of the practical steps forward, so there are the obvious ones which we talked about. I do want to address one particular topic when we talk about workforce interaction with the private sector. There's always, in my experience, what I've seen, there's a cyclic nature of workforce interaction. There is a sequence of generalists. The need for generalists is almost counterbalanced by the needs of specialists. So right now, there is one very critical step that we need to ensure. We definitely need specialists of the area, which are in AI, which are in cybersecurity, which are in infrastructure. All of them, to a certain extent, are needed, because that's something that is not just a hype for today. That is something that is, we are seeing that plateauing, that the demand will be there. Having said that, all of these factors need to be built as hygiene factors into the students' curriculum and in their training, because all of these are very critical for you to be able to sustain your digital ambition in tomorrow's country, to be an active contributor. I'm very happy to hear that you're engaging at the high school level. And that's exactly what I see. I mean, whether I see that in my teenage kids' high school projects, the kind of toll gate tests that they have to follow in their own projects, those are far from what I even did in my university project. I mean, that tells something about my age, but that's, but the reality of the matter is all of these important factors have to be built into some extent. Now, I do feel that there is a very critically important factor of finding that balance between that specialist field. A fresh graduate, I want them to be able to understand what the technology is and have a very clear vision of what they've understood and what they've learned. Having said that, the way the technology is changing, I'm very certain, literally 2 years from today, the direction that we'll have will be different from where we are right now. Metaverse is a buzzword if you walk around GITEX today, it is a buzzword in every single place. But we haven't figured out what that really means. Everyone has their own definition of metaverse. Yes, there are definitions. We can have a discussion, a different panel on that for many an hours. But the reality is, based on what that will translate in the next 24 months, the demand that will be on the students or the people who will contribute to the metaverse of tomorrow is going to be significantly different. So I encourage the academia particularly to build on this opportunity to engage with the stakeholders. Make sure that that hygiene factor of digital injection to each and every, and it does not matter if the person is a developer, is an author, is an artist, or anybody else. These factors are critical for any citizen of digital tomorrow. And everybody is going to be a citizen of digital tomorrow. So that has to be built in. Yeah. With that, I will just simply say from our side, the contribution that we build and that we work with is we are focusing on 3 dimensions. One of them is that we are making sure that we are infrastructure, right? We don't do consumer business, but the reason we are sitting here and why people like myself engage with the government stakeholders is that there has to be very clear policy direction and a regulatory environment that allows for us to get to this digital future. And it is not an easy thing. There are reasons why these discussions need to happen at every single level. So I'll skip the other 2, but I will simply leave it on this one. So this policy regulatory discussion on a government level, as well as at the industry level, including the academia, has to be the stake, has to be the next step forward. And that's what we are trying to contribute in this discussion.
Thank you. So Dr. Omar, let me end the discussion with you. There is demand for developers. There is innovation, entrepreneurship, engagement, be it with the students and the R&D and the labs. But there is also a good question. Metaverse is coming in the next 24 months. Do we have students coming in the next 2 years that can develop metaverse?
I think this is a very good question. So I will start with saying that, I mean, if we forecast what we need in 2 years, the university cannot provide in 2 years because any program will stay at least 4 to 6 years if the student will finish a master's degree.
Are we missed the opportunity now?
No. I'm just like saying we can keep changing, but these changes will not like totally flip the program to the new program. But opening a new program, for example, in this direction or something like this will take time. However, thanks to the Ministry of Education that we need to review our program every 3 years in the university. So this review has to be reduced as well. Especially
we need to activate the 10X initiative.
Exactly.
Yeah? So,
and we are doing this, but in the course level. So if metaverse is coming for us, a technology can be embedded in one course. It's not the whole program. We cannot like, because this buzzword will stay for maybe 5 years, 10 years. But after that, we cannot like build the whole program. And as just he mentioned, like, do we need a lot of cybersecurity people? I mean, for the whole, for the coming, yes, we need. Why? Because we are all moving to digital world. I mean, in our homes now, it's a lot of digital instruments. And these digital instruments need some security. Otherwise, our privacy will be broken. I mean, this is why we need like those expert people as we move towards digital worlds. So we need these also people to secure our, like, you know, information and data. And the data getting big and big. That means we need more people to secure all these kind of data. So yes, we can. And this is exactly the today discussion in our booth at the university, where a lot of company with metaverse background came and start discussion how we can test or proof concepts that metaverse and the student how to learn this technology and to start developing some kind of like modules. I will not say developing the metaverse from scratch. I mean, this is a long year experience, needs companies, it needs consultation and so on. So what we can do is just to apply and then maybe further develop some kind of application that's useful for the community, and especially we are talking about UAE community.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you
you.
everyone for your time, and I really appreciate the engagement and the activities. Thank you. Thank you for the audience. So we have questions. Yeah. Can we have one question, please? Yeah. Please.
This is Dr. Lotfi Bekir from University of Qatar. I have a comment and then followed by question. In 2018, I published a paper entitled "The Global the Projected the Global ICT Footprint on the Footprint Projection to 2040." And we projected that we were in 2018 or 2015 were about 1.5% in terms of the carbon footprint of ICT, and we're projected that's going to reach 14% by 2040, which is about the same as the transportation sector. Recently in Europe, they estimate that the carbon footprint of ICT had reached almost 10% of the total electricity without including blockchain, cryptocurrencies, metaverse, 5G, and all those nice and cool things. I think if we move to a digital transition or digital economy without moving into a sustainable green economy, we'll be making a huge mistake. And while I was listening to all the skills and the digital skills, I did not hear anything about green skills, sustainability skills, how to design products that are cradle to cradle, serviceable. What are the universities and industry doing to build those skills, without which we are not going to make it, because global climate change is coming, is real.
If I could just jump in. Thank you very much, Professor, for, first off, I haven't had the pleasure of reading your study. I'll make sure that I look into it afterwards. But you've highlighted a very critical point, and I would just want to share from our side. So this is one of the most important factors that we are driving. So what we are doing on this, again, we always focus on the immediate term and the long term as well. So one thing is a reality, and you as an academic can help me in that way. So the reality is, every time there's a new technology, there is a bit of a curve where the energy utilization goes up and then it normalizes and then it actually dips down. What we are doing is we are trying to reduce the distance between that evolution curve and the dip down curve. And one of the things I would invite you to visit Ericsson in Hall 2, we have a specific demo which talks about breaking the energy curve. And that talks about how between 4G and 5G, and that's yesterday's news now. So between 4G and 5G, how we've able to reduce, not just maintain, but reduce significantly the energy production cost per gigabit. And as a result, how that will further reduce on the 60 gigahertz. And then on top of that, so this is the immediate. The second part is we are actively contributing. So COP27 is in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh, in a few months.
In November.
In November, thank you. And COP28 will be in the UAE. So
next year.
Exactly. So when we talk about these two things, we are actively contributing to both of these, to making sure when we talk about SDGs and we talk about the value that digitalization can bring there, we are contributing to that for the long-term strategy to make sure that all that comes in this strategy enables the next generations to be able to not just maintain and reduce and plateau the energy utilization, but actually reduce it to a level that is more sustainable. So just wanted to share these two things and would love to contribute more on that.
So thank you very much. We are out of time. The panel is there, so we can reach you out with more details. So thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to our panelists. Thanks to our moderator. Let's have a picture.